In the previous video, we introduced how to install Jupyter Notebook on your local machine. In this video, we will talk about two alternatives, which host the Jupyter Notebook online in the cloud for free. So you can access and use the tools without any installation or without access to a computer that you might not be able to install software on, such as the lab computer or let's say a library computer, etc., etc. So let's take a look at one of these options first, which is through GitHub and something called binder.org. So first of all, I would start from this GitHub page that I created to host all of these files online, and I'll link to this page on Lyceum. So in short, the address is github.com /Bates/econ260. Okay. Once you're here, you're going to see these files that we use for the course. Don't worry too much about each one of them, but there is a short README here that says this is repo for all the SymPy files for Econ260 Intermediate Microeconomics. Regardless of whether you use this particular way to access the files, you can always come here and get the most up-to-date Jupyter Notebooks that I created for our course. So below here, you're going to see this little icon here, and that says Launch Binder. Okay. All right. Now, if I click on this Launch Binder icon on the bottom, it's going to bring me to the site called Binder. It's mindbinder.org. I think it's created by the creators of Jupyter Notebook. If you click on this button called Show, it's going to open up this terminal-like panel that shows the progress of launching this virtual server in the cloud. It ranged somewhere between 2 to 5 minutes for me to get started. I don't think it varies too much depending on the machine you use. I've tried this on the phone. It works because the Jupyter Notebook isn't really being created on your local machine anyway. So there you go. Now our Jupyter Notebook launched, and notice that it is no longer hosted on sort of printing a local host kind of link, but rather it's pointing to notebooks.jesses.org. Anyway, so it's on a remote server and it's being hosted on the cloud. So now what we can do is we can just click on any one of these notebooks that I created in the GitHub, and as I update more files, you're going to see them updated. And now you're in. You can use it as if you're working on your local machine. Double click to edit any cell. Click Run to compile it. You can run each one of these cells. Just click Run. It's going to run and load SymPy. If there's no error, then we can skip this installation cell and then just run declare and take the derivative as we've done in the introduction video. I can solve this function again. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. But when you're working on the cloud, remember that when you save the file, it doesn't go to your local machine. So to be safe, I would recommend you click download, so that this notebook will be downloaded to your local hard drive. So you keep a copy of your work, and then you can submit this as your homework. You can use it to discuss with your group members and TA, etc., etc. And when you want to return to the folder of all the files, just click Close and Halt. It's going to leave the site, and then we'll be back here at the folder again, and you can navigate to a different notebook. And when you're done, you can hit quit and you will be out. And you will shut down the remote server, and then next time you want to use it, you will have to launch from GitHub again. Now let me talk about a second way we're able to use Jupyter Notebook on the cloud. So again, I will go to the GitHub page where we store all these Jupyter Notebooks, and I can download any one of these because I already downloaded one just now, which is this Intro to Jupyter Notebook file. I'm just going to use this file. So now I'm going to open a different tab. The alternative to using mindbinder.org is I can use Google's Colab. And this is an environment that Google hosts for free for everyone to use some cloud computing. And there are different ways you can use this. Once you go to this page, this menu should pop up. You can create a new notebook from scratch, or you can launch one from your own Google Drive, which I have some, or you can go upload. So for instance, I already downloaded this file, so I can choose this file on my local drive, upload it. It's going to be opened on Colab. Another way to open up files is we can directly ask Colab to access the GitHub page. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to come back to our GitHub page, and then I'm going to copy this entire link, and I'm going to paste it in here, and then I'll hit search, and Colab will access the GitHub folder. And then we can just open up any files in there as we want. So for instance, I'm going to open this intro to Jupyter Notebook, and there we go. Now you can see the Jupyter Notebook opened. The interface looks somewhat different from Jupyter Notebook, the original one that we've been looking at so far. But the idea is very similar. You have markdown cells, here, 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 and you have some code cells that looks more distinct from the markdown cells. For every markdown cell, double click. Again, you can make edits. It's exactly the same edit. And the nice feature of Colab is that it gives you an almost real-time render on the right-hand side. So you can edit and see what's going on here. I can say, what if I type, and then after a little while, I think it's going to show up on the right. So you can see what if I type is now being added to that. So it's not instantaneous, but I suppose it helps a little bit if you like that sort of thing. Okay, so this is gone now after I removed it. It has a little bit of lag, but it's pretty good. Okay, to render this cell, I just leave it, and I think it's automatically rendered as a markdown cell. Now, as a code cell, now we don't see a run button up here, but we can just hit this button here. This is the run, essentially. That says run cell, okay? Or I can hit Command Enter or Control Enter. And it's going to give you a warning that this notebook was not authored by Google. Do you want to run it? I'm going to hit run anyway. Now it's going to have this thing that indicates it's running, and now it's done. Now, because there's no error, I don't need to install the SymPy package on this particular instance, so I don't need to do it. I'm just going to, again, declare symbol x and take a derivative with respect to x, and that gives us this result. So a very similar idea as the original Jupyter Notebook. The interface looks slightly different, but the operations should be very similar. So you'll be able to find insert cells up here. You'll be able to make changes to the type of the cell as you would in Jupyter Notebook. And we'll talk about those actions in the next video. Now, in addition to these two cloud options, you might also want to use base lab computers. So the issue with that is Python might not be installed in each and every machine on campus. And my experience, as I mentioned, is that the IT people seems to change and update software from time to time, and in the process, some software just got dropped. So when you log into your Bates lab computer, what you can do, just like you would on the Windows computer, you would just hit search Windows, and then you can type Jupyter Notebook. If nothing pops up, then it's probably the case that Jupyter Notebook isn't installed on this machine. Then you're out of luck. If it does pop up, like we had on the local installation on the Windows machine, then you can just click on it. It's going to run on the machine as if you made the installation yourself. So that's basically it. I hope you find a solution that's most suitable for you. If none of these things works for you, don't freak out, don't stress out too much. Please feel free to let me know. We're all learning the ropes on this one together, so feel free to reach out and don't be shy.